Hi, everybody. It's your old pal, Sarah. Sorry, I'm trying not to hate men. I love Rory. I love a lot of men in my life, but I really need them to get more upset and more aware of what the fuck is going on in this country. Sorry, I just went into a rant. I told Rory, I said, I need you to be really mad so that I can relax a little, because this is fucking crazy making. You know, the Republicans blocked the amendment to the SAVE Act that would say that for married women who change their names, it doesn't count, which still sucks for all trans people and like people who, but they said, nope. If your name does not match your birth certificate, you can't vote. And they know that disenfranchises 70 million married women. It was never about voter fraud. Let's take a call.
You left me a message. Now I'm playing it for the world. Let's hear some voicemail.
Hey, Sarah, it's your friend Joe from Toronto. My partner and I have developed a love for Babybel cheese, and every time I bite into one, I can't help but think of the time you hosted the Independent Spirit Awards, where you also passionately expressed your love for Babybel cheese, and you were doing this thing where you were pretending to mount the cheese, and you said you would prefer to be the guy in that role. Anyways, I just want to know if you still have the same affinity for the cheese. Love the show. Thank you.
What a weirdo I am. I mean, I did that at the Independent Spirit Awards. It's true. I just love that Babybel cheese so much. I want to fuck it. Yeah, I remember that bit. And then I go in and I want to be the man. I'm like pretending to fuck cheese. I am still a fan of Babybel cheese. I have a net of them in my refrigerator. Rory was trying to do a bit or figure out a bit about nets. Why nets? Now I just stole it, but anyway, I won't go on with it, but it is odd.
I'd like to find out what percentage of cheese Babybel cheese is, because similar to your affinity for fake chocolate, I think that Babybel is fake cheese.
No way. Babybel is, I believe, Jack cheese.
I don't know about that.
No, I don't know about that. If only there was a library in our pocket.
According to Babybel, they are 100% real cheese from pasteurized cow milk.
Blech.
The consistency is weird, and when you peel the wax off of it, it feels like it's just a continuation of wax.
I disagree. I love the rubbery consistency. I'll like cut it down the center, like the wide way, and, put it on a sandwich, couple of them. They're a great snack. My mom always had Babybel cheese, and she would take the red wax and roll it and roll it and roll it and roll it in her hands to make it a perfect, like a shiny, perfect red marble. And then she took like a mason jar, and every time she ate one, she'd make that like wax red marble and put it in. And then she just had a mason jar of these gorgeous, bright red marbles, and it was kind of beautiful. I'm sure I was like, Mom. But looking back, it's pretty fucking, I think it's cool and art and delicious.
My memory of Babybel cheese was in middle school, people would take the wax, roll it in a ball, and then press it on their fingernails and make these horrible fake fingernails.
Ooh. Oh, I don't know what that sound was. To change the subject completely off the sound I just made, I will say that I discovered many years ago that babies love that sound. They love the sound of an appalled, rich old lady. Boo! They really do. I don't know. I discovered it. What else?
Hi, Sarah. It's your pal Alex from Durham. Do you have any insight on when a relationship with a therapist becomes potentially too close to be really helpful? It's not at all inappropriate.
No.
But I find myself wanting to ask her about her life and just what's going on with it, with what little I know, and possibly caring about her opinion too much. Because I do genuinely care about her as a person and someone I talk to and share things with. Is that normal? Or maybe that's just me avoiding talking about myself? I've been going to her for several years, on and off. She tells me like it is and doesn't put up with my bullshit, which is what I need, but oddly hard to find. But I also don't know if I feel too close and that I care about her opinion too much. But maybe as long as I'm being 100% honest and forthcoming, it's okay. I'm just not sure how much it's okay to care about a therapist or counselor, but at the same time, I do care so much about everyone. How could that not include a therapist? I hope that came across how I intended, and I'd really appreciate your thoughts. Thank you for being you.
Oh, thanks for calling in. I think it's normal, as in common, maybe, to kind of fixate on someone whose job it is to care for you, whether that's a therapist or a doctor or a secretary, how many men have affairs, fall in love with their assistants. And it's just so funny to me because of course they do. Like their wives are like equals to them and call them on their bullshit. And here is this person whose job it is to anticipate your every need. It feels like love. I changed the subject slightly, didn't I? But yes, I think it's fairly normal to kind of fall in love with your therapist because they're a person who cares about you, and that's their job. And I'm not saying your shrink doesn't care for you, but it is a one-sided relationship. It's that way by design. I remember I had a shrink years ago, a woman, and I had convinced myself. I remember telling people, like, she's like my best friend, and I really believed that. It's really so, I don't know if it's narcissistic or what, but like that's such a crazy thing to think because I was just like, no, I really think like we're best friends. And then years in, I remember asking her if she had any children, and she said, yes, I have 5. I was like, this person is lovely. This person is helping me. This person does care, but this is not a friendship. This is incredibly one-sided. This is all about me because I pay her for it to be. I appreciate her. I maybe even adore her, but this is not what friendship is. If we were friends, I'd probably know she had 5 children. But and that's okay. As a matter of fact, it's key that it's a one-sided relationship because that's what the relationship is. You're paying her to help you with your life. But you can't really be personal friends with your shrink. I think, because of boundaries and shit. Anyway, good luck, and I'm glad you like your therapist. That's great news. What else?
Hi, Sarah. I love you all. Hey, I have some thoughts for the caller who isn't sure how to talk to her kid about a grandmother who is no contact status.
Right.
I can relate because like 6 years ago, I had to go no contact with my dad. Just the casual cruelty became too much. There was misogyny directed at my wife. And it's still hard because you feel guilty over choosing to sever a relationship, even, for your kid, right? But when our 8-year-old has asked where my dad is, we just talk to him about the kind of people who we choose to spend our time with, people who are safe and kind. And when someone makes you feel bad or even just nervous all the time, if they hurt your feelings and don't apologize, that's unkind. So we choose to spend our time with people who will not continue hurting us and making us feel unsafe. And, grandparents are great when they're great, but if not, your kids don't need them. They'll be okay with just your love and a safe, chaos-free life as much as that is possible, and they won't feel some void over a missing grandma. It's okay.
It is okay. It is okay. Listen, some real shit parents are fantastic grandparents, fortunately or unfortunately, but that is not something you have to endure. Your kid will be okay. It sounds like your kid's going to be great. And everything you said is right. So I don't know why my brain is going this direction, but kind, unkind can be a little bit fluid. Of course, what you're talking about, you're completely right. Your father is not going to change, not in his relationship with you. Very likely if he had a relationship with his grandkid, but you don't have to endure that. That's okay. But what I mean by like kind or unkind can be a little fluid, and I'm kind of talking out of my ass, but it just makes me think meaning if a child is unkind to you, you may wonder where that comes from. You may be kind in the ways in which you receive it. It might even kind of break your heart a little bit for them, with empathy for them. There are adults that I sometimes see in that same way. You're doing everything right, and I'm not trying to say give your parents a chance or give your dad. You did what you needed to do to take care of yourself. And so I don't know why I'm going this kind of different direction, but there are adults in my life that I see in that same way. And because I see them in that same way as as you would see a child who is misbehaving, they can't hurt me. They don't have the ability to hurt me because their cruelty breaks my heart for them. And, I have a friend whose brother really makes him feel like shit. But when I saw firsthand what it was that triggered him, what it was that upset him, it felt like my friend was triggered by historical stuff. His brother wasn't putting him down. His brother was being really braggy. And I find that to be personally heartbreaking, if anything, not infuriating. But I'm not him. I'm not my friend. And I didn't grow up with this brother, and I don't have historical stuff tied to it. But I tried to show my friend how I saw it. And it kind of changed his perspective a little bit. Because that braggy shit triggered historical shit with him from when he was little and had no power. And his older brother had power, and because it triggered that feeling of not having autonomy, not having power in his own life, that it's extreme. His reaction is extreme. Where that brother maybe lorded over him and made him feel less than, that all comes up. But in the context of now, in adulthood, where my friend has total control over his life, those same things could just make him feel sad for him, like, oh, bless his heart, seeing through this perspective. He's told me that seeing through this new perspective helped him to see it all differently. And what I'm trying to say is I'm a hero, basically. But also, life is too short to suffer fools that don't make your life a better place than it does without them. I got into the weeds for probably absolutely no good reason, but I really think you did the right thing.
I love that answer, Sarah. Oh. And it reminds me of, I was just listening to this interview with this writer, Ocean Vuong, who wrote the book On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. But in the interview, he talks about this experience of feeling like he's not a kind person and feeling like there's others who are kind, and this story of how he basically got a gun to kill someone. But it was this neighborhood bully who had taken his bike, and he was working as a farmer, and he was totally disenfranchised, and there was this opportunity to make $1,000 bonus on this farm, and his bike was taken away, and he just felt so powerless that he literally resorted to the worst form of violence imaginable, So it just totally confirms what you're saying about kindness being something that, it's not just like a constant thing that we are it or we're not.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. An addendum to that too is that, like, on the other hand, you can have compassion for your father and get an understanding of what makes him the way he is, but it does not mean that you have to endure his behavior. So, but I think you did everything right. But it's interesting. It's interesting stuff to talk about.
Here's some ads.
Shopify. Starting a business seems like an awesome, empowering idea. It is. And then all of a sudden, you are looking at a to-do list a mile long, but millions of businesses have found a tool that makes selling easier than ever, and that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., from household names like Mattel, heard of it, Gymshark, to brands that are just getting started, like your new brand. Get started with your own design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates. Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand's style. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. Turn your big business idea into cha-ching with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Sarah. Go to shopify.com/Sarah, shopify.com/Sarah. Boom. Relief band. Do you get nauseous easily?
Sometimes I do get a little nauseous.
Well, our next sponsor can help you out. Relief Band is the original anti-nausea wristband that quickly relieves and effectively prevents nausea and vomiting associating with motion sickness, anxiety, migraines, hangovers, morning sickness, chemotherapy, and so much more. It is non-drowsy, works quickly before or after symptoms start, and has 0 side effects. What other thing can guarantee that? I don't know. Relief Band's technology was originally developed for hospitals before being sold to consumers. Relief Band is FDA approved, clinically proven, recommended by doctors nationwide. I wore this when I was shooting in 0G, literally floating in anti-gravity, and for a science segment that I shot. Will you see it someday? Who knows? And I did not puke, so shout out to Relief Band.
And there was puke flying around.
So if you want to cure your nausea problem fast, join the hundreds of thousands of people who are nausea-free with Relief Band. We've got an exclusive offer just for the Sarah Silverman Podcast listeners. If you go to reliefband.com and use promo code Sarah, you will receive 20% off plus free shipping, So head to reliefband.com and use our promo code Sarah for 20% off plus free shipping. Boy. People say boy still.
And we're back.
Hi, Sarah. This is your friend Corey from a small town in British Columbia. Longtime fan who wasn't really allowed to enjoy anything you did until I was out of my parents' house. I recently listened to your Smartless podcast episode. This is something I've really wrestled with and listened to a lot of wise people about. And what you had to say about it has sat with me for months now and has informed a lot of my responses when talking to people on this topic. You said something along the lines of, it's not brave to say something if you're not willing to deal with the consequences after.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher of 5 years now, and something I've seen a lot of in my students is an absolute dread of getting things wrong. And even though many people want to attribute this to the upcoming generation, I think that what we're seeing is just an echo from the past generation.
Absolutely.
So my question to you is, how do we leave more room for people to get things wrong? I feel like that's where a lot of people need to meet, is in the vulnerability of being wrong. And I feel like you may have some wisdom from a couple different angles on this.
I wish I could give people the gift of the joy or relief I feel when I realize I was wrong about something. Because only when you realize you're wrong about something can you make it right. You know, there is no success without failure, blah, blah, blah. This is stuff that's going around. People are learning this stuff. We all get things wrong sometimes all the time. And, you know, I think without grace to fix these things, encouragement, you know, we're left isolated. More than people who have always been right, of which I don't know any, I admire people who have been changed by what they've learned, who see being wrong or who see failure as the beautiful opportunity that it is. You know, listen, if you can't let yourself be wrong, well, that sounds like a prison. You cannot grow that way. I watched my father fundamentally change, and it was amazing. You know, I feel I've been changed many times over, and I have a long way to go. But I feel very lucky that being wrong or fucking up does not upset me. You know, it doesn't. I may feel badly for any damage I did, certainly. But it mostly makes me excited. It makes me excited to make it right. Excited to live my new life knowing better now. I don't know. There's definitely a very odd stigma around being wrong or doing something wrong. And it's odd because it's wildly human. And don't we want to be human? It's part of humanity to be human. That's the smartest thing I've ever said, maybe the dumbest, I don't know. Again, Father Gregory Boyle, a changed man himself, said, if we don't make peace with our wounds, we will be tempted to despise the wounded. And I see it all the time, all around me, and sometimes in myself. I'll say that in my view, what I find and what I notice, especially on the left side of the aisle, which is where I firmly reside, is a very ironic lack of empathy in this regard, an extremely ironic elitism, and very rarely a path to redemption given. I know there's very little room to criticize the left in a world where the Christian right is taking this country with brute force. So it seems like, don't say anything, you know, but I think it's important to look inward, and in this way I'm part of the left and I'm looking inward. I think it's healthy criticism that could bear fruit in the best ways whilst fighting fascism. So, you know, the one thing that the right does very well is they want anyone to join. You'll join us? I don't fucking care who you are, where you come from. Join us. And it's, you know, for a party that is very much into giving you an enemy and making other of people, marginalized people especially. They're oddly inclusive in terms of wanting your vote, wanting your support. And then the irony is the left, which is all about inclusion, being very oddly elitist in this regard. So it's interesting to me, that's all.
Sarah, it's elitism, not eliticism.
Fuck you. Thank you. Elitism. Elitistism. They're elitist, but it's elitism. Yeah, that makes sense. Elitism. All right, I stand corrected. But it was funny that I said fuck you after saying, like, be open to change.
I loved it.
All right, what else?
Hi, Sarah. It's your best friend Samuel from St. Louis. I have blocked my best friend of like 20 years and brother from my life and am moving on from our friendship because he has just gotten more and more radically Christian fundamentalist. He's a straight white man. I'm a gay white man. And over time, our values just went so far away from each other, and I just kept making excuses to get together, and we pretty much lived in the past together as our friendship grew, and because we couldn't live in the present because we didn't agree. And then I kind of had a sugar daddy situation for a while, and then he got intertwined with it and became friends with this partner of mine, who is a very, very wealthy man and throws his money around to anyone who's kind and giving him time and attention. I think that's a whole different can of... But when we broke up, I said, hey, can you stop having bi-weekly dinners with him and using his credit card that he gave you? Yeah, it got that wild. And he said no. And so I blocked him, and I'm satisfied with my choice. It's been a long time now, but I still think about it all the time. And it feels sad to just let such a long-term friendship die, but I also feel justified. What do you think about that?
I'm proud of you for doing what you needed to do in allegiance to your own happiness. Anyway, wish him well and fucking peace out. I think you did exactly... Listen, your gut is proof that you did what is best for you because you feel good about it. Boom. Well done. And I'm sorry, but you feel good about it, and I think that's okay. People grow out of each other. And, you can't control if he is friends with your ex still. Just peace out. Be happy. Take care of yourself. Well done. All right, what else?
Hey, Sarah, it's your best friend Troy from Detroit. And I wanted to ask you about emotional infidelity. I'm married, been in a relationship with my spouse for over 10 years. We have kids, we have the ups and downs that every marriage has. And my spouse is an avid gamer, and they spend an awful lot of time socializing with these online friends that they've never met. And come to find there's one friend in particular they spend an awful lot of time on the phone with. It's almost daily. And wasn't an issue for me, except during one of our arguments, my spouse let me know that they feel more comfortable sharing their hopes, dreams, and desires with this person than with me. And that hurt my feelings. And long story short, we've come around to a solution where we make time and space for us to talk. And that's great. But it was an eye-opener for me. And just wondering if you had any thoughts on the topic of emotional infidelity. I didn't even know what it was until this happened. So can't wait to hear what your thoughts are. Love the podcast and love what you do. Thank you.
It's interesting. Well, if they fell in love with this person they're gaming with, that's one thing. They're emotional kind of love affairs. If, like what they told you, they feel safer talking about vulnerable things with a faceless voice, that maybe is just more of a confessional kind of safety there. I can understand that. But maybe there's an opportunity for you to try something new with them. Your partner wants to feel safe. And I think it's very easy to go into your ego there and be like, but I do this, this, this. They shouldn't feel this way. This is how your partner feels, period. What can you do to help them feel safer when they're talking about stuff like their hopes or their dreams or whatever they said, that kind of vulnerable stuff? When your partner talks about their hopes and their dreams, I would say try not to be practical about it. Just hear them And I know because you're banking your own happiness onto them that you go, well, this isn't practical, or this, realistically, this, it doesn't matter. Let them talk about their fucking hopes and dreams and just listen. Just hear it. Go, wow, cool. Those are good reactions. Oh, interesting. Huh. Oh, I didn't know you felt. Listen, just be supportive and hear them. Because that's probably what this stranger can offer. They're not being practical with them. They're not saying, well, you can't do this because this. They're just letting them have dreams and hopes. And as their partner, I can see how it's easy to let practicality get in the way. Just listen to them. Just hear it. That's really what people want. That's what you want too. That, a practical answer may not be what they're looking for. They don't want to feel judged. They just want to be heard. And sometimes that's so hard to do with the people we're closest to. But do it. You're going to see that it pays off because it's really what people need, It's like when something's going on with me, I don't need Rory to fix it. And of course, as a man, that's his impulse. And he's learned to just say, oh, baby, that sucks. Is there anything I can do to help? And I'll tell you, every time he says it, that's what I needed. I go, no, you just did it. That's all I needed. And he's like, that's so easy. Yeah. But it's hard to realize that. You have to kind of learn to do it. It is actually easier. You're learning to resist something that comes naturally because you love your partner. The PlayStation friend has no stakes in your partner's life. So it's very easy for them. They're easily able to just hear it and go, oh, wow, cool. And that's what your partner probably needs there. So
I was going to say that also, like, we're different people with different people. So it might be that, like, his partner is experiencing a different part of himself, like you were saying, that he can't access because he's known his partner for a long time. And, like, that can be helpful, too, to explore.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I want my partner. I get there is such thing as an emotional affair, and that's a real thing. But in terms of, I so want my partner to have people besides myself that he can talk to about stuff. That's so important, And I think it's healthy. I think it's easy to forget with our partners to remember to listen to them with wonder and with awe and hear them as a completely separate person from yourself. Because once we feel like we're a part of each other, it's harder to be impressed by them. It's harder to hear their original thoughts and their feelings without diminishing it because that's how we treat ourselves is another piece of that, I think. What do I know? I'm a comedian. What you calling here for?
Here's some ads.
Are you sick of buying over-the-counter allergy meds that don't actually work for your symptoms? You probably just want a treatment that gives you the relief you need so you can actually, breathe and sleep. Allerme has the first and only custom nasal spray to treat your specific symptoms. Standard meds don't work for everyone, and specialists are hard to find. Effective, accessible, and affordable allergy care from Allerme means you are free to do what you love all year long without allergies getting in the way. They have a 95% patient satisfaction rate and over 12,000 five-star reviews. Well, I love custom things. So a customized allergy spray uniquely for me for my schnoz? Sure, sign me up for that. I'm not trying to breathe through mucus over here. Upgrade your allergy relief with Allerme. Head to Allerme.com and use code Sarah at checkout for 60% off your order. What? Once again, that's Allerme.com and use promo code Sarah for 60% off. Make sure you use my promo code Sarah so they know I sent you. You ever watch a makeup tutorial and they're using a million different products, none of which you own? Well, fortunately, you don't have to look further than Thrive Cosmetics. They make certified 100% vegan and cruelty-free products you can depend on for everything from daily wear to show-stopping looks. And by the way, that's Thrive Cosmetics, C-A-U-S. They have donated over, this is no joke, $150 million worth of product and cash funds to over 600 giving partners across the U.S. Their donations support 8 major causes, including those affected by cancer, homelessness, domestic abuse, and more, reaching individuals from all walks of life.
I use Thrive every day.
You do? What do you use, Thrive?
So the eyeshadow that I use 2 products. One, their Brilliant Eye Brightener, because they're these chubby sticks and they come in different colors.
That's what they're famous for, right?
I think that people like their mascara, but there's a palette that they made that I use every day. And I also think I use their eyeliner. There's 3 products that I use. It's like green packaging, and I got it in my makeup bag.
Oh, I just got their mascara too. I'm going to try. Yeah. Mascara gets all over my face. Anyway, people love it. It looks very easy to apply. I love makeup, but that it has versatility. I also got their I don't know what it's called, like a flush stick, which I like. I like a flush kind of blush, and you can just use it all over, and I like it. It's easy. But it's very easy to get that. I totally got 9 hours of sleep. Look, discover your new trusty favorite from Thrive Cosmetics, luxury beauty that gives back. Right now, you can get an exclusive 20% off your first order at thrivecosmetics.com/Sarah. That's Thrive Cosmetics, CAUSEMETICS.com/Sarah for 20% off your first order. And we're back.
Sarah, it's Chelsea from Chelsea, Toad, and Becky.
Yes.
And I'm calling because, God, I really started really happy there, but my dog died very suddenly. Lloyd passed away.
I'm not laughing at
that.
Yeah,
I've never had a dog pass away. I've never had a dog before, and Lloyd was my partner. He went through everything together with me. Marriage, divorce, life after all of it, my illness, all of it.
Chelsea.
So, yeah, how did you cope when Duck died? I know Mary's getting up there, and sorry, that's a piece of vintage furniture I got. Anyway, I really having a hard time. Love you, miss you. Sorry I missed you in Jersey. Hope to see you very soon. Hi, Amy. Bye.
I can hear her turn signal. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about Lloyd. And, it's just, there's no way around it. There's no way around loss of life. Everyone you love is going to die, and you're going to die too. But it's such a hard loss. It's such a big loss. And even though it's not human, Duck was my best friend, my companion, my co-pilot, and it was my first dog in adulthood. I was sure I would never love another dog. I remember Tall John came to clean out Duck's stuff, all of his beds and things. He just came to take them for me, and he goes, "Are you sure you don't want to keep any of this? You might get another dog." "I'll never get another dog," I said. Never. 6 months later, I needed a place to put all this love I felt, or whatever that is. And I got Mary. So, I'm going to be totally honest, and it took me a really long time, a few years, to love Mary as much as I love Duck. I remember thinking, secretly don't love her as much as I love Duck, and I felt weird about it. But now I'm like, Duck who? No, I loved Duck. But now, of course, I can't imagine life without Mary, but I will have to live without Mary at some point. I don't have to imagine life without her, because why would I waste this time that I have with her dreading the inevitable? So I try not to do that. I will say one thing that helped me, and what I try to always remember when I lose loved ones, and it just feels so unbearable, I take solace in the fact that they are not in pain. They're out of pain. I'm in pain, and I can handle that. All right. Sorry, Chelsea. All right. What else?
Hi, Sarah. It's your old pal, Lindsay. I love your show, and I'm wondering how you would handle a situation I'm in. My siblings and I are all in our 40s, and our parents are in their late 70s. They've been married for more than 50 years in an extremely gender-conforming dynamic. They're very different people and have never seemed to like each other very much. My dad is an easygoing and hardworking guy, content in his life, but extremely lacking in empathy for other people's perspectives and struggles. My mother is generally really joyful and generous, but chronically unable to recognize and process her own emotions, which by now are just a mass of anger and resentment that my dad often treats her as a domestic secretary. She's become increasingly rude and mean to him and criticizes everything he does. He's baffled by her behavior, just endures it for days or weeks on end until he gets fed up and lashes out at her, and then the cycle begins again. Over the past decade, I've talked with them about this separately, and I've talked with them about it together. I've tried to play therapist, and I've repeatedly urged them to see an actual therapist. Nothing has helped, and neither of them shows any real interest in or capacity for doing the work it would take to shift this horrible pattern. They each basically just believe it's the other person's fault. It makes my heart ache to see them interacting in this way. My siblings have also noticed things getting worse and are distressed. What do you think we should do, Sarah?
Oh, God, I'm so sorry. It's so hard to watch, I know, and you know, you could take solace in the fact that your siblings see it too, and you're not alone in this. But the truth is, and I hate to say it, and maybe I'm wrong, but I most likely your parents are not going to change. They have a codependence. It isn't necessarily their happiness, right? It definitely isn't, but it's what's familiar to them. And even though you can so clearly see a path to each of them having so much more happiness in this life, more often than not, the people our parents' age, codependence, complacency, clinging to what's familiar over what they may want for themselves will prevail. You can try, sure, but I think maybe better for you to detach with love, you know, not lose connection with them. I don't mean detach literally or in that way, but to find some peace or some version of this is just not my problem to solve. And I know you love them and you want this for them and for yourselves, right? But you got to just I think try to make the best of your time with them together and individually. I hate that basically my advice is don't try to fix this. You can try, but you are very likely not going to make them see. They're not going to want to try. They're going to be shut down. You cannot make your parents brave enough to try something new in this life. I'm sorry. I really think that's true. And maybe I'm wrong. But as much as you can, don't give your health to this. You know, enjoy the good things in their lives. there seems to be lovely things about them and that they love you and your siblings but it's hard not to see this and go, it's so obvious that X, Y, and Z. You can't see for them. It's I know it's hard. But enjoy the good things in their lives that they have and that you see, and try to count those blessings and focus on the good. I spent so much time trying to find the exact right combination of words to bring change in my parents' lives and their happiness. And ultimately, it just has to come from them if it's going to happen at all or not. Not the most hopeful answer, but I just really think that's true. And so you got to kind of do what's best for your own happiness. And Dad, wherever you are in space-time, we are winding down. This is the part of the podcast when I say, send me your thoughts, your musings, your questions, your stance, your opinions, your proclamations, whatever. Really, anything goes. But if you want to say something here, go to speakpipe.com/The Sarah Silverman Podcast. That's speakpipe.com/The Sarah Silverman Podcast. And also subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. That helps us. And if you have not yet, now is a great time to subscribe to Lemonada Premium. Just hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, or for all other podcast apps, head to lemonadapremium.com for bonus content you won't want to miss. That's lemonadapremium.com.
Fuck up.